Last time in the Black Clover manga, Yami vs Dante began as Yami flexed his brand new time skip abilities, but can he continue with his upper hand in this fight?
Yo, what?
This chapter, my god. Honestly, this entire week has just been blessed with incredible anime and manga. Boruto got a brand new orgasmic opening and episode. The My Hero Academia anime and manga were quite literally flames, excuse the pun. One Piece went off. And then of course, one of Black Clover's biggest secrets has potentially just been revealed in this chapter. It was actually a legendary weekend. Now we kick off this chapter with a, quite frankly, beautiful scene between Asta and his devil. Now what's really interesting from this is the fact that the AntiMagic Devil is so angry at Lucifer to the point where he declares he's going to kill him. And this has just added even more to his character, something we still know very little about, but ever so slowly now we're starting to build towards the foundation and goals surrounding the AntiMagic Devil. And it's like I said, I'm sticking by what I said a few weeks ago in my theory that the AntiMagic Devil is an evil parallel to Asta, someone who is a nobody and wants to become the equivalent, I suppose, of the Wizard King in the underworld, the ruler of the underworld, but is going about it in much more unethical means as opposed to Asta going down the murder and genocide route as opposed to Asta's route of earning it through merit. But I digress. There's honestly not a great deal I can talk about off this because it was literally just a single page. However, from what we saw in terms of art and plot, it was fantastic. On to Dante though. We see some crazy new magic here from Dante. Now, what is this magic? Where does it come from? I think this answers a question which I've wanted to know the answer to now for a very long time, and that is the fact that we now know what Dante's devils, Lucifer's powers, actually are. All this time, I just thought the gravity magic was Dante's actual natural affinity, but like an idiot, it was staring at me in the face the entire time. It seems like this sort of shedding of his skin healing ability might actually be his natural affinity, whereas the gravity magic is actually the magic of his devils, which makes more sense because when you look at the names of a lot of the spells, they all involve the word, for example, Demon King. So I suppose all along it was staring at me in the face that it's actually the gravity magic that belongs to the devil. I was looking all this time for him to use a different type of magic so I know what the devils could be, when in reality the devil's magic was what I was using. On the topic of Dante though, we do get to see a young Dante in this chapter in a flashback, and honestly, the physical resemblances between him and Damnatio and a couple other Spade Kingdom residents is starting to become a little bit creepy to me. Maybe it's just me, but when I look at Damnatio, I can definitely see similarities there visually between him, Zeno, a young Dante, maybe to some degree even Yuno as well. There's also the other little non-named Spade Kingdom resident we saw right at the end of this chapter as well, and I think he does share striking similarities with quite a few of the people from the Spade Kingdom, and I don't know whether or not that's just Tabata's art style, maybe being repeated through some of the characters, a little art style he's going through right now, a little phase, or whether there's a deeper meaning to it and it's actually all done on purpose. Is Damnatio potentially a spy that originates from the Spade Kingdom? We know he's got ties into the royal family of the Clover Kingdom, but how far back does his roots go? Does he have some past in the Spade Kingdom with some of his family, and maybe he's caught wind of that and therefore he's switched sides and he's actually infiltrating the Clover Kingdom, and that is how the Dark Triad has gotten all this information on William and Yami, and how, as Yami puts it last chapter, how Dante has effectively been stalking them. Anyway, let's jump onto the Tree of Cliffoth. I think that's how you say it. This is mental. For those of you who don't know, the Tree of Cliffoth, if that's how you say it, is essentially the opposite of what the elves were trying to do all the way back in the Elf saga. The elves tried to use the Tree of Sephiroth. Again, I'm hoping I've pronounced that right. Which, for those of you who don't know what the definition of Sephiroth is, basically, you have the 10 apostles of Sephiroth through which God reveals himself. However, the elves obviously did not quite achieve that stage. They didn't quite reach any level of gods appearing or anything like that. But with the Dark Triad, they seem to effectively want to be doing a similar thing, but rather than resurrecting their past elven spirits, they're trying to let loose demons and devils from the underworld into the human world. Now, presuming that Dante and the Dark Triad succeed, will the current hosts of the 10 Apostles of Sephiroth have to try and finish what the elves started and bring forth gods and angels to combat the devils from the underworld? We know that some of the Clover Kingdom knights can still access their elven mana. And also, Patry had to be kept around for a reason. There was no reason to just let him live on past the Elf Saga if they didn't plan to keep him around for something important, and up until this point he's been more or less non-existent. So is he being kept around because he is one of the 10 Apostles of Sephiroth? Are we going to get a full-on war between devils, angels and gods? The picture I'm starting to build in my head is very Devilman-esque, if any of you guys can see where I'm coming from. So what the Dark Triad need is an arcane stage mage, Yami's dark magic, and the world tree magic from William. So William's magic, I'm guessing, is essential to connect to any world in Black Clover. So William's magic, I think, is essential to connecting to each of these different worlds in Black Clover. After all, his spell is quite literally named after what Tabata bases pretty much the most of the story on. Obviously, dark magic is the key to opening up the way forth to the underworld. Will Patry's light magic be able to open up and be the key to the world of the gods? I've seen people theorizing that the spirits as well will be another key to open up into different other worlds as well. Anyway, enough with the theorizing now, because as much as I love talking about it, and maybe I will have to make a separate video on some theories that have spawned purely from this chapter at a later date, but for now let's crack on with the rest of the chapter. One of the most hype scenes I think we've had in Black Clover. Like, genuinely, I didn't know how to react when I first read this. Out of nowhere, what I can only presume is the vice captain of the Black Bulls. Now, disclaimer, this still may not be the vice captain. However, I want to say it's quite safe to say that he is the vice captain, purely based on how difficult and how high end of a mission the mission that he's currently doing actually is. It has to be something that Yami would trust so much to get the job done. And therefore, I'd imagine it would be Yami's right-hand man, the vice captain, one of the biggest secrets the Black Clover manga has had. This guy has been a secret since chapter 2, 5 years ago. It's been 244 chapters since then. But I don't want to spoil the fun for everyone, okay? But there is still a small chance that it's not actually the vice captain. It could still potentially just be another member of the Black Bulls. Because in chapter 4, Yami states that other members are either out on missions, taking breaks, or slacking off. Taking breaks is obviously Zora, slacking off is obviously Henry. And then missions, you presume, is to be the vice captain. However, it's missions, which is plural. Now, either that means there's multiple members out on different missions of their own, or the vice captain has just purely been on multiple missions throughout the story while we've not been seeing him. But if that is the case, why have we never seen him report back to Yami or the rest of the Black Bulls either? However, like I said, I think it's highly likely it will be the vice captain. I'm just saying there is still a small chance that it could be someone else. Anyway though, more on to the point, what is he doing in the Spade Kingdom? Why is he investigating Dante and the Tree of Cliffoff? Regardless, all I'm going to say is that shadow magic is insane. Yami and this guy teaming up could potentially be broken if he can maneuver between the shadows caused from Yami's dark magic. But who am I kidding? Even if he can't, he's still broken. He's the ultimate spy. There's always shadows everywhere. There's shadows all over in this room. He could pop out of any of them. And also, we still don't know to what extent he can use his shadow magic too. We know he can maneuver through the shadows, but what else can he do? What would happen if he used Mana Zone with his shadow magic? Is he able to trap people in shadows similarly to how Shikamaru can with his jutsu? So many possibilities, so much greatness. Honestly, I loved this chapter. I'm so happy with it. And I think that is where I'm going to have to end off this discussion of chapter 246 of Black Clover. If you did enjoy the chapter and this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're not already, as well to become a member of the Senpai Squad. Let me know what your thoughts and opinions on the chapter were in the comment section down below, as always. And I'll be seeing you guys in another video very, very soon. But until then, peace.